Hey, what's up guys, it's Texamer talking to you here, and today I have something special. Finally, I'm doing a video that I wanted to do for a long time. So, I've been using my S22 Ultra for about 1 week now, and I've decided that's enough time so I can compare it to my iPhone 13 Pro Max. Yes, I'm finally doing the comparison between these two phones. This will be a full comparison between these two flagships. In my opinion, the best phones from each operating system on the market. And so in this video I will compare the design, the battery life, the performance, the cameras, the quirks and features, and the speakers, of course. This will be a biased comparison because I love my iPhone. I've been using it for years now, and yes, I do prefer this ecosystem, but I've been using the S22 Ultra for 1 week now, and I gotta tell you, it's an amazing phone if you are on the Android ecosystem or if you are considering buying a new smartphone, because the Samsung S22 Ultra is an amazing phone. It has so much for it, and against my iPhone 13 Pro Max it was a close battle. But at the end, of course, I had to keep my iPhone 13 Pro Max because I cannot give up my ecosystem. But of course, in this video I will do a full comparison between all of those features, all of those quirks, and of course advantages and disadvantages on each phone, and which phone should you go at the end, and which phone is worth the money that you have to pay for it. Remind yourself, this phone costs $1,200 if you pre-bought it, but it costs around $12.99. This phone costs $1,100, $10.99. So yes, these are very expensive phones, but you gotta remember that the iPhone 13 Pro Max is cheaper than the the S22 Ultra. So yes, it's very important that you remind that, because $100 difference, it's a lot of money. And so even though these two phones have a $100 difference between those two, I don't think one is better than the other, mainly the S22 Ultra. So no further ado, and before we get started, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate your support, and I really want you to enjoy my content, and I really want to make the best content for you guys. So if you really like this type of content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you can follow up on my news and my updates on the S22 Ultra, the review, the full camera comparison, all of that. So no further ado, roll the intro. So these two phones have two different designs. The iPhone 13 Pro Max features a squared off design. It's a design that's more resembling of the iPhone 5's design. It has been introduced with the iPhone 12's, and it has been an amazing design, although it's not as comfortable as the Note or the S22 Ultra design, because this features the Note-like design from the Note 20, the Note 10. It's an amazing design, it's very comfortable, it has the rounded corners, and it feels very good in the hand. Although the iPhone 13 Pro Max features a thing that I think it's way more important, which it can stand up if you put it on a table. So because it's squared off, it can stand up, although the Note can do it because it has a flat bottom. So yes, these two features of the design are pretty cool. You can stand up your phone and take photos without a tripod, although I would not recommend it doing on a rocky bottom because you may ruin your stainless steel. But again, the iPhone 13 Pro Max, it's made of stainless steel on the sides, and that's very premium, while the S22 Ultra is made of aluminium. Although the phone is made of matte glass on the back and aluminium on the sides, just like the iPhone 13s, the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max feature these stainless steel sides and glass back, which is also matte at the back. So yes, these two designs are actually very different. If you do prefer a rounded off design, which is more comfortable on the hand, but a little bit more slippery, and of course less premium just because it has aluminium, then you should go for the S22 Ultra. It's obvious. Of course, the iPhone 13 Pro Max, it has a very big design. It's bulky, it's heavy, it has stainless steel sides, which make it very premium to hold, but also very heavy, while the S22 Ultra is actually way lighter. I don't know the weights between these two phones and the differences between these two phones, but I have to tell you, these two phones on the hand, they feel very different. The S22 Ultra feels lighter, feels less premium, but although it's more comfortable to put it in your hand just because it's lighter and it has rounded corners and it feels more like ergonomic on your hand. While the iPhone 13 Pro Max is bulky, it's big, although it has a big screen, it's squared off, so it cuts in your hand a little bit, and it's very premium. So if you ask me, in my opinion, my humble opinion, which design do you prefer? I found myself after 1 week of using the S22 Ultra, which is very comfortable to use. The aluminium side is very cool. I found myself missing the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Whenever I grabbed it to make some camera performance and camera comparisons, I felt different, and I felt the need to grab back my beautiful phone and to show you that this phone, although it's big, although it's heavy, although it's very, very bulky, and it's not ergonomic on your hand, it makes something when you pick it up. It feels like a very premium phone, and I love the feeling of it. It's not as comfortable like I was telling you, but I miss this phone so much. And just the design, the simple design of grabbing it and having a completely flush display instead of having this curved up display, which is not the best thing. I sometimes click on something like when I'm not supposed to. I mean, I do like it, it's cool to have, but the color shifts on the display a lot. I will talk about that on the display portion of this video, but I do prefer the flat sides, I do prefer the flat display. And yes, at the end of the day, in terms of design, it's an opinion, it's subjective, it's not objective. But if you ask my opinion, which of these two designs wins, I'll give the weight for the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Then, of course, the S22 Ultra has something that I would like Apple to put, which is USB-C. Yes, this phone has USB-C, while the iPhone 13 Pro Max only has Lightning. So that's an handicap for the iPhone 13 Pro Max. In this category, there's no choice really. I will go for the S22 Ultra every day just because it has USB-C, and everything on my life is USB-C instead of my iPhone. So yes, Apple, put USB-C, Thunderbolt 4 on your iPhone 13 Pro Max, just because I want to transfer my 4K ProRes footage way faster than I can right now. So yes, in terms of the I/O, is not even a comparison. The S22 Ultra has way better I/O just because it has USB-C. But then, of course, if you consider wireless charging feature in the I/O, the iPhone 13 Pro Max feature MagSafe, which is an incredible ecosystem, and I love it. I have my MagSafe case there, and yes, I love it just to put your MagSafe and ping, connects and just works and starts charging way better than the normal regular wireless charging on this phone. This phone, I mean, it's pretty cool, but in terms of perks and features, it has also the S Pen. The S Pen, it's very, very nice. I actually used it on a class on my university because my iPad Pro ran out of battery and I needed to write something. So I just grabbed my Samsung Pencil and started writing on the display with the note, and I actually managed to take all of my notes on that class, which was 2 hours on this Galaxy S22 Ultra. So I mean, it was pretty cool and it was very, very helpful. The iPhone 13 Pro Max wouldn't be able to do that. So if you really like to use your pen and you think that will be very, very interesting to use, then you should go for the S22 Ultra. If you don't really care about that, which is not, it's 99% of you, then the iPhone 13 Pro Max is not a missing feature in my opinion. Then talking about battery life, I mean, there's no discussion here. The iPhone 13 Pro Max has the best battery life on the business on every single phone that I've tested right now. The iPhone 13 Pro Max is just crazy. It's a 2-day phone for me. Imagine, I'm a power user. I record videos with my phone. I do everything with my phone. And this phone lasts almost 2 days for me. It's just crazy. I mean, while I was using the S22 Ultra, I've charged my iPhone 13 Pro Max twice in 1 week. That's just crazy. I was taking videos, I was recording videos, I was using it for some social media, although I did almost everything on this S22 Ultra. This phone is just crazy and I love it so much. The battery life on this is its best feature, nor the best, because the S22 Ultra, it's good battery life. It's not amazing. This one has a 5000 mAh cell, while this one has a 4000. So I'm asking myself, the differences in 1000 mAh battery cell, I mean, doesn't translate to real world just because of optimization. The A15 chip is so much more optimized to iOS than the Snapdragon 8 Series 1 is, or Alpha 8 Series 1, I don't know the name very well, but I think that this one has the Exynos chip, so it's even worse. The battery life here, it's a 1-day phone. I reached the end of the day with 8%, 0% sometimes. And yes, in terms of battery life, there's not even a comparison. The iPhone 13 Pro Max just destroys the S22 Ultra by a factor of 2 or even 3 sometimes. So yes, if you do really care about battery life, the iPhone 13 Pro Max is so much better that there's not even a comparison between these two phones. One thing to note that the battery life is also coupled together with the battery experience, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max is able to charge at least at, I think, at wireless charge at 15 watts with MagSafe and then 25 watts with a fast charger, while this one is able to fast charge at least at 25 watts too. So they can fast charge very, very fast. One thing that I do think it's pretty cool on the Android side of things, not just the S22 Ultra, but other Android Samsung phones that the iPhone 13 Pro Max would have, it's that charging indicator when you connect your phone and it says 1 hour and a half left to charge. Apple has that on macOS. Why can't we have that on the iPhone iOS? Let me know in the comments below if that's a thing that you would like on the iPhone 13 Pro Max and even on every single iOS phone. So yes, that's one thing missing on the battery experience, but again, this is a perfect battery experience, perfect battery life, perfect fast charging capabilities that do not ruin your battery health. That's also something that I have to praise Samsung, because all these Android vendors are just searching out for the fastest wireless charging and charge your battery 100% in half an hour, and then you destroy your battery cell in like less than a year, and you have to buy a new phone. Yes, I praise Apple, I praise Samsung for putting and limiting the fast charging capabilities on their phones. Yes, I don't really care how fast you can charge your phone, I just really care how long can your phone last on a charge. And if you compare that on these two phones, the iPhone 13 Pro Max just destroys the S22 Ultra by a factor of 2 or 3. And so that's why I think, and I will give a point to the iPhone 13 Pro Max again. And so by now we are 2-0. So you can see that the iPhone 13 Pro Max right now is destroying the S22 Ultra. But let's see if this phone can come back in other categories, shall we? Next, we have performance. Yes, performance has been quite interesting actually, because I've been using the S22 Ultra and it feels very, very fast. By using Android and this 120 Hz panel, which is LTPO, the new LTPO 2.0, this phone feels way faster actually than my iPhone 13 Pro Max. I don't know why it is. Just scrolling through the Android system, like, it's very, very fast. It's very, very fast. I mean, it feels very fluid, it feels natural, every animation is fast. I can customize the speed of it, and it feels very, very fast and very, very productive to use. While the iPhone 13 Pro Max feels beautiful, feels smooth, feels natural, but it's slower. But that's not the story that I want to tell you today. Although these two phones, in terms of performance, they feel different when using. The S22 Ultra feels fast, the iPhone doesn't feel as fast. When you are actually using power from your CPU, you notice the difference. Just because this one has the A15 chip. This is the best chip on the phone ever. There's no discussion about that. The S22 Ultra's Snapdragon or Exynos, depending on the region. In my region, it's the Exynos. It's slower, or at least at par with the A13. Yes, you heard me right, the A13. I mean, it's just crazy that the iPhone 11 has the same chip, as powerful, which is a 2-year-old phone, as this $1,200 flagship of 2022. Yes, that's really bad for the Android vendors and Snapdragon or even Samsung, because they cannot even compare against iPhones. And so, in terms of performance, it's not even a comparison. Of course, you won't notice on the day-to-day basis, but at least in like 8 years, you will notice, because the iPhone 13 Pro Max will be usable and the S22 Ultra will be completely dead, will be trashed, obsolete, not even usable. Samsung now promises 4 to 5 years of updates, and that's very, very, very good. But I can assure you, this Apple will upgrade this phone for 7 to 8 years more. And so that's why I'm here to tell you that the differences between these two chips are not noticeable now, but they will be on the future. And of course, now I can tell that the A15s just simply edits and shares and just renders videos way faster than this phone. In terms of raw benchmarks, this phone is way much faster than this phone. And in terms of GPU benchmarks, this phone, it's better than this phone. One category that this phone actually performs better than this one is, of course, the cooling system, just because this one has a better cooling system than the iPhone 13 Pro Max. That's an issue that Apple has to work on their iPhones. It's the cooling system, because this phone actually can cool better than this one. Again, these differences between on the day-to-day basis won't be noticeable, but when you are playing games, and very, very intensive games like, I don't know, Pokemon Unite or even Genshin Impact, you will notice the differences. I can play Pokemon Unite at 120 Hz on this smartphone, the iPhone 13 Pro Max, while if I can try to play Pokemon Unite at least 120 frames per second, or even League of Legends or even Genshin Impact, it starts to throttle, slow down, and it's not as smooth, or it's more choppy and starts dropping frames. So yes, my opinion, between those two phones, the performance is just ridiculous, and the gap between these two phones is just stupid. So yes, another point for the iPhone 13 Pro Max, just because the 15 is so much further ahead of the Snapdragon or even the Exynos, which is even worse than Snapdragon. I don't like this thing of Samsung switching chips depending on region. It's not fair. I pay the same amount of money that you paid for your Snapdragon S22 Ultra, so I want my fastest, more efficient and better phone actually than that I paid for. The S22 Ultra on my hand should be the same on your hand on the America side. So yes, my opinion, Samsung, boo for you. It's a bad thing that you change chips depending on region. So yes, Apple, the A15 is so much better. You don't have any competition. This one is still trying to figure out how they can beat the A13, and you are already releasing the A16 this year. So again, there's no comparison in terms of performance between these two phones. And again, I'm sorry to tell you, another loss for the Samsung, so 3-0 in terms of points system. Then we have speakers. Speakers are actually very interesting because before I compare these two speakers, I gotta tell you a story. I went to a technology store a few days back and I brought my S22 Ultra. I played some songs on it just to test the speakers because the first time I tested the speakers on this phone, they sounded weird. They sounded teeny, they sounded less volume, less louder. So I thought, wait, are these speakers bad? I mean, it's a $1,200 flagship of 2022. How can these speakers be bad? All flagship speakers are good. I mean, the comparison just makes like, okay, it's fine. When you compare them both, it's fine. I don't care. But I actually picked up this phone, went to a store, compared it against the S22 Ultra, and I was shocked because I found out that the S22 Ultra speakers are actually worse than the S21 Ultra. The S21 Ultra are clearer, louder, and way, way better. And so I was like, wait, the S21 Ultra speakers are amazing. The S22 Ultra speakers sucks. They are teeny, they are not loud, and they sound weird. They have a lot of noise when they're in max volume. Again, I played the speakers on my iPhone 13 Pro Max and I was like, gosh, this is way better. How can Samsung bring their speakers from one year to another? And then I thought, wait, they put a 5,000 mAh battery on this phone and they put the S Pen. So they had to cut somewhere, and that's where they cut the speakers. So they have smaller drivers, and so the speaker experience compared to the S21 Ultra, it's worse. Actually, they worsen the phone from one year to another. It's actually crazy to think about. I'm paying more, and I'm getting less RAM, and I'm getting worse speakers. It's actually stupid, but I mean, who cares about that? 90% of the time you are using your headphones, but I mean, it's just something you have to look out for. I will throw a comparison between these two speakers and let me know in the comments below what you think. But the iPhone 13 Pro Max is so much fuller, louder, and clearer than the S22 Ultra that there's not even a comparison here. But take a look and see for yourself. So with the speakers compared, it's 4-0 for the iPhone, and by now you can see that this battle is over. The iPhone 13 Pro Max is so much better than the S22 Ultra in my opinion, that the differences that can make you go for the S22 Ultra are very niche. One, and the main one being Android. If you don't like iOS, you should go definitely for the S22 Ultra. In my opinion, it's the best Android phone out there. I've tried other Android phones and I've enjoyed it using this phone very much. Just because it's losing against the iPhone 13 Pro Max, it doesn't mean that I didn't like to use it. I mean, it's an amazing phone. If you have bought one, or if you are thinking to buy one, I totally encourage you to buy one. But try to get a Snapdragon one, because you won't be disappointed. I don't like this thing about Samsung switching chips using Exynos. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not an Android fan. I don't like Android, but I actually enjoyed using the Android 12. My last Android phone was the Samsung Galaxy Geo, so it was like 8 years ago. So, I mean, it has improved a lot. It has a ton of features that are very cool. But, I mean, the best thing and the only thing that I would give to the Samsung phone, mainly, like the big thing, is the display. Yes, let's talk about the display, shall we? Because the story here is actually very interesting. As you know, Apple produces the specs of the displays, but who makes the displays is Samsung. So these two phones here have displays made by Samsung. Yes, these are two Samsung displays, but the Samsung S22 Ultra display is so much better. Yes, I hate to admit this. The only thing that I have to point out bad about this display is the curve size, which if you are looking from an angle, just looks weird. It's not good. It has, when you are using a widescreen, it's hard to show you on a video, but when you are using a widescreen, it has a very hard and very weird color on the end of the curved display. This is just a feature of curved displays and there's nothing that Samsung can do. Although, yes, I do prefer the flat display on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. But if you compare display quality, the raw quality, the iPhone 13 Pro Max is incredible. It's just incredible. I mean, these two phones have an amazing displays. The iPhone 13 Pro Max is incredible. It's very reliable and very color accurate. When using HDR, it's better than the S22 Ultra, in my opinion. By comparison, you can see here, the iPhone 13 Pro Max is brighter than the S22 Ultra, although this one has a 750 nit maximum capacity. Probably Samsung hasn't updated, or is yet to release an update, so they can fix that. But in other situations like home screen and using apps, the S22 Ultra display is better. It's just better. It feels better watching videos. I don't know if it's because it's on vibrant mode and so everything is turned up to the maximum, vibrancy is turned up to the maximum, contrast is turned up to the maximum, and so the display is very appealing to the eye, but it's not as calibrated. At the end of the day, if you ask me which display you would like to have on your smartphone, I would choose the S22 Ultra. Yes, just because it has smaller bezels than the iPhone 13 Pro Max. It doesn't have the notch. I mean, I don't care about the notch, but I do prefer the hole punch display. And yes, the display is just incredible. The always-on feature is amazing. It doesn't work every time, like right now it's not on. I turned to you and it turned on. It's an amazing feature. I like this always-on display. Please, Apple, put an always-on display on your iPhone. It just makes sense. And you have an OLED display. So yes, I do love the OLED display on my S22 Ultra. I love it so much, and so I will give it a point to Samsung. So it's 4-1 in terms of point system, but I have one bright and big claim to say to Samsung about their displays. Fix this curve thing on your displays. I mean, I don't like it. It's a big gripe of mine, and I would like a flat display, just like you have on the S22 and S22 Plus. Those displays are amazing. This is the LTPO 2.0, and I'm very excited to see Apple put this display on their iPhones next year or 2 years from now. But yes, in terms of displays, the S22 Ultra wins against the iPhone 13 Pro Max, in my opinion. Of course, if you see a comparison between the two HDR on YouTube, then I will prefer the iPhone 13 Pro Max just because it's a little bit brighter. But again, if you compare this phone against the S21 Ultra, there's a comparison that I would find weird to make. But the HDR on that phone and even the Note 20 is better than this S22 Ultra. So I think it's a software feature, a software bug that the Samsung that needs to fix. So I'm not worried about it. But in terms of displays, like I was telling you, Samsung S22 Ultra wins. Before I talk about the cameras, which is the most important part of this video, and it's the part that you would like to see most, I will talk about Face ID and Touch ID. Yes, I've been using the two phones, and I've used this phone for almost 6 months, and I've used Face ID for even longer, and I've been using this phone for a week. And let me tell you, Face ID is so much better. There's not even a comparison. Face ID works 95% of the time that I use it, and if I'm not wearing a mask, it's 100% of the time that I use it. I can pay stuff, I can use my wallets, I can open my bank accounts with it. It works perfectly. I can fill my passwords. It's just amazing to use. You do not even think about it. Just tap your display, unlock, and it's just that fast. Well, the S22 Ultra under display fingerprint, let me tell you something. It sucks. It sucks. I mean, it bothers me to tell you this because I love this phone. I love all the features that it has, and I think that having a Touch ID under the display is an incredible achievement in terms of engineering. But it sucks, let me tell you. It works only 50% of the time. I don't know if it's that a problem of the iOS or Android. I don't know. I just know that it doesn't work 100% or even 80% of the time, which I expect to on a flagship. So I don't like this fingerprint display. Now it works, but I can try to show you here. A lot of times that I'm trying to use this fingerprint, it just tells me, no, error, wrong fingerprint, and I'm like, God, I'm putting the right fingerprint on place, why cannot you unlock? And then it just blocks me for 5 minutes, and I get pissed, or I have to use my passcode. So yes, I don't like the under-display fingerprint. I would prefer, I don't know, a fingerprint on either side, maybe on the lock button. I would prefer it much more to an under-display fingerprint, so I'm not asking Apple to put an under-fingerprint display on this iPhone, and that's mainly the reason that Apple is not doing it. It's not putting Touch ID on the iPhone under the display, just because it's unreliable. A lot of people are saying, oh, this is the best under-fingerprint display ever, it works almost every time. I mean, I don't care, it's bad. I cannot even imagine bad under-display fingerprints, because if this one is the best and it's this bad, I mean, the Google Pixel 6 Pro must be unusable by now. So yes, I do not like this under-display fingerprint reader. I much prefer the Face ID. And so, I mean, Face ID is 100%, 100 times better. 100 times 20, you can change the number, whatever, I don't care. Under display fingerprint here is that bad, and I don't like it. It's the worst feature on this phone. It's one of my biggest gripes, not the biggest problems that I have with this phone. So yes, between these two phones, which one will I choose? Totally Face ID. So 5-1 in terms of comparisons. And so we have reached the camera comparison, the part that you are more expecting. But I hate to disappoint you. This will be a very short and very fast camera comparison, because I will have a full camera comparison, a full video just comparing the cameras, the photos, examples. But I will try to show you here one example for each camera, or try to tell you which one has the better camera without showing a lot of things. So let me start by saying that the Samsung S22 Ultra has more quirks and features, it has more different things than usual, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max in general is the best camera. There's no discussion here, just because it's more reliable, it's faster, and the video capabilities is 2 to 3 times better than the Samsung S22 Ultra. But the night mode, in my opinion, on the S22 Ultra is better, just because it's clearer and the photos look, although not as natural, they look better. And so at the end of the day, that's what matters. I don't want a dark, blurry picture. I don't want a picture resembling the night, when sometimes I just want a very, very good and usable picture to put on social media. And so, yes, I do think the S22 Ultra has better night mode. But if you talk me about who has the best ultra-wide mode, well, the iPhone 13 Pro Max has a good ultra-wide camera. It's not amazing, even when compared to the telephoto or even to the wide camera. I think that the ultra-wide camera on the iPhone, it's Achilles heel, while the S22 Ultra has a better ultra-wide camera than the iPhone 13 Pro Max, but it's not also amazing. It depends on, if you have good lighting, I do prefer the iPhone 13 Pro Max camera, just because, I mean, it doesn't create this fish-eye system, while the S22 Ultra creates it, and this one only a 0.6, this is a 0.5, so actually, yeah, a point for the iPhone 13 Pro Max, because the ultra-wide camera here, it's wider, and during the day, which is 90% of the time you are taking photos, it's better. So yes, ultra-wide here wins. The only thing that you can't even compare between these two phones is just ridiculous. It's just like, there's no comparison. I mean, I can show you some pictures, but it doesn't make any sense, because this phone has a 10 times a telephoto camera, a 3 times telephoto camera. It's the telephoto system. Telephoto system on the S22 Ultra is so much better than the telephoto system on the iPhone 13 Pro Max that there's no even a comparison. I'm sorry, Apple. I'm an Apple fanboy, but there's not even something to compare. This system is amazing, amazing, amazing. It's the best feature, not talking about the display, of course, the best feature of the S22 Ultra, in my opinion. It's worth to buy this phone just for this feature. It's the telephoto zoom, the 100 times zoom, the super zoom. You can call it whatever you want. It's an amazing feature. I love it so, so much. Yes, it's amazing. You can see some examples here that what I'm talking about. I mean, you can zoom further like 10x, and by 10x you can almost notice the difference just because this phone has an optical 10x telephoto. So every photo taken at 10x, it's not cropped in. It's actually from the camera. And of course, the iPhone just crops in from the 3x telephoto. By a 3x, if you take photos at 3x, I mean, it's a toss-up if you like this telephoto, if you do like this. This has the color science on this phone is a lot vibrant. It has a lot of, all the pictures taken on this phone have the contrast gone up, the vibrance up, and so I do not like it. If you ask me which has the better color science, is the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I do prefer this color science just because it's more natural. You can see that by comparing photos from the ultra-wide cameras or even the wide cameras, you can see that the two photos are actually very good. I've taken amazing photos with these two phones, and the differences are simply the color science on these phones. The iPhone 13 Pro Max has a neutral and very natural, appealing, very like raw. Like the best thing I can tell is raw photo science. While the S22 Ultra likes to bump up everything just to make the photo look amazing, like it was taken on a perfect lighting, perfect day, perfect subject. So if you like that, then the S22 Ultra is better. But if you like to edit your photos yourself, and if you like that natural feel, then the iPhone 13 Pro Max is better. And if you ask me which one is better, I think that having the choice to take a natural photo, it's better. And so I do give the point for the iPhone 13 Pro Max system. And so in terms of video, in terms of normal photos, and even night mode on the normal camera, I do prefer the iPhone 13 Pro Max. But if you are talking about zoom, and you are talking about night mode on the ultra-wide camera, then this phone wins. And so it's a very big toss-up between these two camera systems. This is the best camera system on an Android. This is the best camera system on an iPhone, just because it's the best iPhone. It's the most expensive one. But yes, not divagating. These two phones are actually very comparable. If you do take a lot of video, then the iPhone 13 Pro Max camera, it's way better. There's no comparison there. The video between these two phones, although this one takes 8K video, the video here is so much better, and I do think the microphones are better here. But take it here and let me know in the comments down below which one do you prefer. This is a test on the front camera system that I will talk about a little bit later on this video. Hey, so this is the test and the microphone test for the Samsung and the iPhone. What do you think? This is the Samsung phone, this is the iPhone. So let me know in the comments down below which microphone sounds better and which view sounds and looks better. I think that the selfie camera is better on the Samsung S22 Ultra just because of the 40 megapixel and it's way more crisp. The background is way well exposed while the iPhone is not that great. So let me know in the comments down below, although the iPhone looks way more realistic than the Samsung. So let me know in the comments down below which selfie camera video do you prefer. So that was the video on the front-facing camera on these two phones that I gotta admit it's better on this phone. This phone has a 40 megapixel front camera, while this one has only a 12 megapixel, which in my opinion makes a lot of difference, just because this phone takes a lot of crisp and amazing front selfies. So yes, the selfie capabilities here are much better than the selfie capabilities here, just because it has a 40 megapixel camera, at least during the day, because during the night it's comparable. One thing that's way better here than here during the night is portrait mode, at least on the main cameras, while the front camera is not as good. The night portrait mode on the Samsung is way better. Like I was telling you, the night mode here, it's mainly better on the of every other lens, not talking about the wide camera. The wide camera, when you are comparing these two cameras, I think that the wide camera is overall better on the iPhone, even though here it's 108 megapixel wide camera. So it takes some amazing crisp phones and photos, but it's cropped in and it has that fake bokeh, which is not fake, it's actually natural, but it's not desirable in some photos when taking photos from subjects. But like I was telling you, these two camera systems are actually very good. I cannot give a point, so I'll give a point to those two phones, just because they are very good. The video, the iPhone wins. Overall, night mode photos, the Samsung S22 Ultra wins. Best color science, my opinion, the iPhone. And of course, selfie camera, the Samsung wins. So you have to choose. But I will have a more detailed video showing you all the comparisons between all the cameras, all the different scenarios, the video, the microphone, everything that you can compare the cameras. I will have a video, a full video, full blown out video comparing these two, so you can make your decision if you are interested on this portion of the video. So yes, this is the comparison between these two phones. And reaching the end, I can tell you that I missed the iPhone 13 Pro Max because of the ecosystem. That's the main feature, the main thing, the biggest thing about the Apple's iPhone is the ecosystem. It's the Apple Watch that I have here. Let me show you. Yes, it's the Apple Watch, it's my MacBook, it's my iPad, it's the receiving the notifications here, it's receiving my calls here, even when my phone is on silence. It's everything that you can think of. Let me tell you, when I'm using this phone now, I sometimes, like 3-4 times a day, I miss notifications for my friends, messages for my friends. My mama actually tried to call me 4 times during an afternoon and thought I was having something or I was in danger, just because I didn't pick up the phone for the whole afternoon after calling her and she didn't answer. So I just simply put this phone on silence because of class, and I left it on my table, and I lost 4 calls and I don't know how many messages from my friends. So that's one thing that I actually never miss with the Apple Watch. So yes, that's the biggest thing. You can repair that using a Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 or something, but it's not as strong. I mean, I've used the Galaxy Buds Pro, which I will have a review on my channel on this phone, and it's not amazing. It's not the best thing ever. Doesn't have the magic of the AirPods, which are incredible on the iPhone. And so the ecosystem, it's the biggest thing going for the iPhone 13 Pro Max. If the biggest thing going for the S22 Ultra is the display and the zoom, the iPhone 13 Pro Max's ecosystem capabilities are just insane and destroy every single thing between these two phones, and there's no comparison. And that's why at the end of the day, I do think the iPhone 13 Pro Max, it's better than the Samsung, and I do think that the iOS is better than Android. So this is, at the end of the day, a comparison between iOS and Android. It will not be, how do I say this? You will not choose a phone just because of the hardware. Software, in my opinion, is more important. And so if you are already used to using iOS, you will not switch to S22 Ultra just because it's a way better phone. Or if you are used to Android, you will not switch to the iPhone 13 Pro Max just because it's a way better phone and way better experience. So yes, at the end of the day, I cannot convince you going for the iPhone or convince you going for the Samsung, just because you will have your choice, you will have your preference on ecosystem, on software, and of course on platform. So if you do prefer iOS, you should go for the iPhone 13 Pro Max. If you prefer Android, in my opinion, the S22 Ultra is the best Android flagship out there. It's way better than OnePlus, it's way better than Samsung's other flagships like the Galaxy Flip or even the Z Fold 3, which are actually different. I've tried them out, I don't find them very spectacular, and it's way better than Google 6 Pro. So yes, in my opinion, between these two phones, which one is better? The iPhone 13 Pro Max, but it's my humble opinion. I mean, the ecosystem here just makes me stay, and I will return my S22 Ultra. I will have a review at the end of the 2 weeks, so I will tell you all of those quirks and features, and that's why you should leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you can keep up with those videos and you don't miss those videos. Of course, in a few days I will have the full camera comparison, so if you are excited for that, don't forget to drop a like down below and to subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you can see it as soon as it launches. And of course, thank you all for watching this video. I'm very grateful for your support. These two phones are amazing. I cannot tell you which one to choose. You have to choose by yourself. But if I want to give you a little bit of help, the end of the day, I do think that the iPhone 13 Pro Max is worth spending, just because all of the things that I've talked about in this video, and of course it's $100 cheaper. So if you like the S22 Ultra, I cannot convince you going for the 13 Pro Max, but at the end of the day, I think this phone is still the better deal and the better phone out there, in my opinion. So what are your thoughts on these two phones? Let me know in the comments down below, and while you're there, please let me know what is your favorite platform or favorite software ecosystem, iOS or Android. Let me know in the comments below. This was Tex Smart talking to you here. Bye.